From a 23-year-old land dispute to an important verdict under the POCSO Act and a landmark decision on the right to privacy. So let's begin with this week's top Supreme Court updates. Our first update comes from a significant ruling delivered on 12 November 2025. In the case of Sanjay Tiwari versus Yugal Kishore Prasad Sao and others, a bench of Justice K. Vinod Chandran and Justice N.B. Anjaria set aside a counterclaim that had been upheld by both the trial court and the High Court. Let's quickly look at the facts of this case. The matter dates back to 2002, when the plaintiff claimed to have purchased 0.93 acres of land and taken possession after paying the full consideration. Later, Defendant 2 and Defendant 3 entered the picture, claiming rights over 50 decimal of the same land based on their own alleged agreement. They filed a counterclaim, but not against the plaintiff, instead against their co-defendant. The Supreme Court made three major findings. First, under Order 8, Rule 6A of the CPC, a counterclaim can be filed only against the plaintiff and never against a co-defendant. Second, adding Defendant 2 and Defendant 3 to the suit was right to avoid non-joinder, but that did not allow them to counterclaim against Defendant number 1. Their counterclaim was filed years too late, making it barred by limitation. And lastly, the court also refused the permission for a fresh suit, as the claim was already time-barred. The original specific performance suit has now been sent back to the trial court for fresh adjudication. Moving on to the next, we have, on 13 November 2025, the Supreme Court of India delivered an important judgment in Dinesh Kumar Jaldhari versus State of Chhattisgarh. A bench of Justice Arvind Kumar and Justice N.B. Anjaria upheld the conviction of the appellant under Section 9, Clause M and Section 10 of the POCSO Act for sexually assaulting a 4-year-old child. The court relied heavily on the mother's testimony, describing it as consistent, credible, and trustworthy. The child's visibly frightened reaction when seeing the accused in the court was also taken as a strong indicator of trauma. Medical evidences such as redness in private parts supported the allegation. However, considering that the accused had already undergone 4 years and 5 months of imprisonment, the bench reduced the sentence from 7 years to 6 years while keeping the fine of Rs 6,000 intact. This judgment reinforces judiciary's firm stance on child protection under the POCSO Act while balancing sentencing principles. Moving on to the next, we have, on 14th November 2025, in the landmark case of Govind versus State of Haryana, the Supreme Court examined the balance between privacy right and police power. A bench of Justice K.K. Matthew and Justice A.L. Giriswamy upheld the constitutionality of police surveillance measures applies to a habitual offender. The court recognized that the right to privacy is indeed a part of Article 21, but importantly, it is not absolute. The bench held that reasonable restriction can be imposed in the interest of public order and crime prevention. While the Punjab Police Rules 1934 were upheld as valid, the court states that the surveillance must be proportionate, minimal, and carefully supervised. This decision remains a foundational movement in India's evolving privacy jurisprudence. And that's all for this week's Supreme Court update. For more such legal update, follow Law Times by Indian Institute of Legal Studies, Siliguri.